首先我们敬礼传承祖师，敬礼了明和尚，敬礼萨迦正空上师，敬礼16世大宝法王卡玛巴，敬礼图登达尔吉上师，敬礼坛城三宝，敬礼瑶池金木，一切如来、菩萨、金刚、护法、空行、诸天，敬礼护摩祖尊、金刚亥母、多杰帕姆，敬礼108尊多杰帕姆。师母图登悉地，各位上师、教授师、法师、讲师、助教、堂主，各位同门，还有网络上的同门。今天我们的贵宾呢，中华民国外交部北美事务协调委员会秘书长廖秘书长东周亨利，就是廖大使还有廖大使夫人。台湾中央研究院院士朱思怡教授及夫人陈文文女士，朱莹颖博士、朱叶慧博士、黄伯龙先生，台南市民进党议员蔡旺乾先生，国立成功大学电机工程学系教授王礼博士，中国中中委会法律顾问罗日良律师、黄叶琴律师，中国中中委会会计师特丽莎师姐恩哈斯曼，台湾雷藏寺公关主任王珠子师兄，中天电视台给你点上新灯节目制作人西雅琪师姐，英国名摄影师托尼师兄，侨委会海外信用保证基金会董事长谢胜华夫人谢王淑梅师姐，加拿大温哥华新时代集团电视资讯传媒总监叶一涛先生及夫人施文女士，中华民国侨务顾问谢明芳师姐，特别嘉宾齐春林师姐，张德伟睡眠科医生，庄敬耀医师，林淑华医师，香港中文大学谭伟伦教授，高敏露夫妇，还有所有来自于世界各地的同门贵宾，还有网络上的贵宾。 能够参加的全部都是贵宾啊。好，我们首先介绍啊，下星期天9月1号下午3点，是护摩祖尊弥勒菩萨，弥勒菩萨。那么在底沙活的时候啊，这个有2尊菩萨要下生到人间来做大前神王佛，一尊就是释迦牟尼佛，一尊就是弥勒菩萨。这2尊呢要选一尊，所以底沙佛啊，那时候他用眼睛观察，看2位弟子，一个是释迦牟尼佛，一个就是弥勒佛啊，这2个都是他的弟子。那么他看这个释迦牟尼佛跟人间的缘分比较接近，所以就请释迦牟尼佛先下降，在人间做大前神王佛。那弥勒菩萨以后会下降，就是也是大前神王佛，也是叫做弥勒佛。那么弥勒菩萨跟释迦牟尼佛其实是师兄弟，其实是师兄弟。那么弥勒佛呢，比较晚下生的原因是因为他跟人间的缘分还没有成熟，是释迦牟尼佛先成熟，以后呢才是弥勒佛先成熟。所以他将来啊也是人间娑婆世界的教主。大家听我这样子讲啊，要不要主起就随便你们。他等同是未来的弥勒佛，现前的弥勒菩萨。他跟释迦牟尼佛一样的崇高伟大，也是娑婆世界的教主。当然了，法力无边。你们要不要主起就随便你们了。这是介绍法，介绍完毕。那么要做一个很小的这个人事发表啊，人事发表。在这个 California Sacramento 有一个雷藏寺，就萨迦雷藏寺，有2位主持，一个是莲财法师，一个是莲奇法师。他们同样的将这个受灌顶为上师，这2位。萨迦莲藏寺，萨迦莲藏寺啊。好，可以。另外有一位是这个佛罗里达州这个圣德雷藏寺莲宏法师莲宏法师，圣德雷藏寺莲宏法师将灌顶为金刚上师。那么莲宏法师是莲智上师特别给他保举的莲智上师特别给他保举。那么在西雅图呢， 这个莲印上师也保举2位啊，莲印上师保举2位。那么一位就是彩虹雷藏寺的莲勤法师，莲勤法师，莲勤法师。将灌顶为上师，还有一位他那个莲印上师保举2位，一个就是莲习法师，莲习法师。这个都是这个2位都是莲印上师保举的啊。那么今天呢，这个就是有几位上师啊，几位法师将灌顶为上师，简单宣布一下。那么其实我们所有的法师当中也有很多的人才，你们只要呢这个师尊看到的，或者是上师看到的，他们有保举的，那么就是由师尊做灌顶，给5佛的灌顶，到了这个宝光灌顶，就成为上师。今天的这个宣布就到这里。那么今天我们所做的附魔是金刚亥母的附魔，金刚亥母的附魔。金刚亥母这个它最短的名咒就是 Om 多杰帕姆梭哈，是等于呼唤它的名字 Om 多杰帕姆梭哈。那么多杰呢就是金刚，帕姆就是亥母它是波叶佛母本身所化波叶佛母。波叶佛母所谓佛3转法轮，第1转是4圣谛，就是昨天在这个法会里面所讲这个声闻圣声闻圣，那么就是所谓阿罗汉，这个一流果、一来跟不还跟阿罗汉4种果位4种果位的声闻圣，1转法轮，2转法轮就是属于波叶系统的波叶佛母，心经最后的这个咒 Om 给得给得波罗给得波罗僧给得，属于波叶佛母的菩提所哈 Om 给得给得波罗给得波罗僧给得菩提所哈，这属于波叶系统。金刚亥母这个总源头就是波叶佛母波叶佛母本身来讲起来，就是所有的可以讲是所有佛母的总源头。那么它发出来的金刚亥母，就是密圣里面所有空行母的总源头，都借帕母。所有母系系统的智慧系统的总源头是都借帕母，金刚亥母。金刚亥母在灵马派里面，所有派里面都用了金刚亥母。那个 关于灵马派有几个这个大护法，像这个四面空行母、一级佛母跟拉夫拉都是属于灵马派的这个很大的护法。那么四面空行母，我们称为仙东妈，仙东妈。一级佛母，我们称为阿松妈，阿松妈。那么拉夫拉就是这个身子像龙，那么有多个面孔，是很大的护法神，是拉夫拉拉夫拉。那么在这个在中国里面称拉夫拉，就是彗星，彗星呢，彗星的这个尾巴很长的那一颗星，就也称为拉夫拉。它是属于这个灵马派的很大的护法。金刚亥母本身来讲起来呢，是所有瑜伽士、所有修行的瑜伽士密圣的中脉、左火、明点、无漏种种法的这个加持的本尊。所以这一尊这个多杰帕姆非常的重要，因为你要修着火法，一定要祈求它来加持。一般的着火呢，就是两个三角形叠起来，那么多杰帕姆就等于升起来的火一样，升起来的火一样，它的姿态、它的形状，就像红红的火，这样子的，它在生法宫当中矗立。一般我讲的生法宫是属于平面的三角形，中间站着这个多杰帕姆，再来是成为矗立的三角形，有两个三角形。所以这一尊这个金刚亥母，就等于是所有密圣瑜伽士的修着火的这个总本尊，由金刚亥母再生出很多的空行母，很多的空行母。所以在今天虚空界有来了108个金刚亥母在这块。那么我在做护摩的时候这个精神一集中，所有的虚空中的这个多杰帕姆全部从我的中脉里面进到我的身体，它能够净除中脉的清净，这个净除着火的清净，净除所有的净化所有的轮的清净5轮、7轮的清净，然后可以净除这个明点的清净，明点的清净。它是在清净什么呢？也就是说，它清净我们的中脉，清净我们的气，清净我们的明点。在密教里面有讲到，它清净你的这个明气的时候，清净你的气的时候你自己本身就会变成应化身。清净你的中脉的时候，它会等于清净你的这个报身，清净你的报身。在清净你的明点的时候你就会变成法身。法身就法、报、应三身都可以清净。所以这个金刚亥母是我们修行非常重要的一尊，在内华在外华都可以当成本尊。 也可以，你可以当成本尊，也可以当成内华的本尊。所以这一尊是非常重要的啊。他的形象是身如妙龄女郎，一面二背身裸，红色武力的姿态，就右足弯曲现空，左足才踏在莲花入轮的一个石牌上，全身绽放红光，偏照一切，华上冲，头戴五罗冠，头部侧面有一个猪形的头，也就是亥，所以称为亥母。他右手高举金刚月刀，左手持着盛满鲜血的嘎巴拉，就是驴器，在胸前。这个他的这个左肩内涌着严饰金刚杵和3个人头的天杖，又称卡场卡，代表消除贪嗔痴。我们知道今天的护摩本尊呢，他是拿着卡场卡，持着卡场卡的还有莲花生大士。莲花生大士、金刚亥母、狮面空行母仙东妈，他本身也拿着卡场卡。这3个跟莲花生大士都很有关联，他们都同样拿着卡场卡。昨天讲的声闻圣有一个重点，要修声闻圣，只要把贪除掉就可以了。这个贪念给它砍除。人生所有一切的罪恶来自于贪，最主要来自于贪。贪有3样，一个是贪名位。你想当大官啊，想要升官啊，就是这个名位，还有你的名气呀，这个大部分人都会贪。另外就是贪财，大家都想赚很多钱，就贪财，有的是不择手段，就会犯下了贪业，最重要的。第3个就贪色。人生来就有7情6欲的，男女都有，每一个人都是有。因为本身我们人生本身是污秽的，就是污秽的，所以要把它这个污秽变成为净，清净的净，先要除贪。昨天所讲的声闻圣，也就是先要除贪，你把贪除掉，然后出离这个贪，你可以进到这个阿罗汉，修到最高的阿罗汉的境界。主要是贪财、贪色、贪名位，这3个贪最重要，能够除尽的话，那就可以了。所以那个声闻圣就是阿罗汉，他手是不会碰钱的，手是不能碰钱，就是表示不贪财。但是也有人这样子讲，我手不碰钱，我用筷子去夹，筷子去拿钱，这个不好的。那也不贪食啊，吃的东西也不贪啊。昨天已经讲了，吃东西也不贪，他也不贪色的，所以他离开城市到深山里面去独自修行。那里就没有女人，像灵鹫山岩洞里面，他没有女人，在坟墓里面修行就没有女人在这个旷野的地方，离开住宅区很远的地方，那边没有女人。到没有女人的地方去修行，你就不会贪色，就不会贪色。不贪财，不贪色，还 不贪名位，他还有什么名位呢？他已经是出离心很重，出离这个世间很重，这个名位都不要，什么名什么位都可以不用，不会去贪名位，所以这样子才能够真正修持啊，成为真正的阿罗汉。所以当初的时候，只有所谓的衣服，他穿的粪扫衣，吃的是乞食来的东西，没有东西了。像在不丹常常有这样子的瑜伽士在住在深山里面，他没有了，他下山来，那个希望人家供养他，他拿着这些物质物品，他就又到深山里面去修行。在印度、在尼泊尔、在不丹、在西藏都有这样子的瑜伽士啊，这属于修声闻乘。那么他除了穿的衣服以外，就是一个破另外生活的日用品，其他身无长物，没有什么所谓的房子、汽车，什么通通都没有的。所以是昨天所讲的阿罗汉的法，大家都知道很难修。其实这只是佛本身初转法轮的时候他所说的苦集灭道啊，非常的这个重要，非常的重要。那么也有过午不食啊，过午不食，到最后他们傍晚肚子饿怎么办？晚上肚子饿怎么办？只有喝流体的东西，或者是糖果。像美国有一种那个一种糖果，好像巧克力啊。就是那个东西，对，没错，就是那个东西啊。那个吃的话就可以挡住饥饿啊，一块糖果而已就可以挡住饥饿。这是我们介绍了这个金刚亥母，也介绍了昨天的这个声闻乘。
And also the practice of Shravaka heard yesterday. It's very difficult, but if you have the resolution, you would be able to do it. So today I will continue to talk about chiche, and that's cutting through. So, and someone shot an arrow, so I like to share with everyone. First, very grateful to Grandmaster to ceaselessly deliver sentient beings. So I take refuge to the Root Guru and the Three Jewels, and I pray that Grandmaster would live a long life, never enter Nirvana, have great health, and continually turn the Dharma wheel. So I sum my courage to shoot an arrow to answer the enlightenment. So I ask how to cut off the afflictions. B said, so according to Grandmaster's teachings, then you can cut off the afflictions. And A asked, Grandmaster said he never gave Dharma teachings, and B said, then based on this you cultivate spiritually. And A said, then does it mean you don't think of anything? And B said, yeah, if you don't think of anything, where would be the afflictions? So his answer is, if you don't think of anything, then there would be no afflictions. And the offering is 55 Canadian dollars. So 55 in Chinese also means nothing, nothing. And the name is the Great Four. And the Dharma name is the non-abiding. So with non-abiding, there's no afflictions. That's a very good arrow. But the question is, why? Why or how can you be not thinking about anything? What makes you able not to think of anything? If you can answer this, then you are enlightened. What makes you able to not think of anything? In a split of a second, you cut off all the afflictions. With the pay is cutting off. Completely cutting, completely cut. When it's completely cut, but why? How do you cut it off completely? What's the reason? So that you don't think anymore. You cut off all the thoughts. How or what is it that make you able to do that? If you can answer that, then you would be enlightened. So that's Cheche. This is jokes provided by Dharma Sister Linda. When you have a small disagreement with your wife, and I slept in another room, and then the wife was still angry and cut a little hole so that the mosquito could enter the hole and bite me. And I thought, oh no. And then I saw the wife bringing a glue to glue the... And I thought, oh, my wife was probably just warning me, but it turned out that the mosquitoes were all in, and now I don't want to let the mosquitoes out. So that's the human world, that you would have little disagreements between husbands and wives. And they would kind of have small fights. That's a human world. But if you don't think about this, then that would be difficult. Second, I was strolling with my colleague, and there was a bird that had a drooping on my nose. And my nose became white. And my colleague tried to find something in her bag. And I was very touched. And she was maybe trying to find a tissue to wipe the drooping of the bird. But it turned out she took a cell phone and took a picture of my nose. And she said, "Oh, this is a rare opportunity, and I can post your picture on the internet." That's also quite cute. So these two jokes were provided by Dharma Sister Linda. And there are many other jokes. So these are only about speech. That's why it's very difficult to cut off all thoughts. This is place of words of Chinese. It would not make sense in English. So this are all about thoughts, that joke that people thought about. If you really want to cut off the afflictions, you need to go to the realm, heavenly realm of no thought. If you can cut off your thoughts, then you can enter the heavenly realms of no thought. Then that's also the non-returning heaven. Is that right? I wasn't sure. There were so many people earlier to become primary supplicants, and I was giving blessings one by one, accepting the hatha, and my 2 arms were about to be someone else's. There were really too many of them. So we're very grateful to everyone for your participation in this Homa fire offering ceremony. And thank you for all the primary supplicants and the primary supplicants from overseas, and also to the supplicants on the internet. And also thank you to all the disciples, fellow disciples. So how are you? How do you do? Domo konnichiwa in Japanese. We need to cover all the languages. Now we will talk about talk. So in the Great Perfection Dharma, there are 2 nyctics. One is the Dakini nyctic or Khandro nyctic, belonging to Padmasambhava, and second is the Vima nyctic. That's Vimalamitra nyctic. Vimalamitra's nyctic. Nyctic is the heart essence. And there's also the Longchingpa nyctic. That's the most important ones. And Longchingpa combine the 2 Vima nyctic and the Khandro nyctic to become Longcheng nyctic. And in this nyctic, the most important thing is talk and chant that belong to Ati Yoga. So Cheche is cutting through, which also the true understanding of the mind. And talk is the appearance of the radiant self-nature. That's the leaping through. So at that time, the central channel is naturally pure. So the chi, normally, you purify the central channel by converting or transforming the convenient chi to become wisdom chi. And then the central channel would generate a radiance. And that's also called the leaping through or dock. And Ren Yun. And according to the Nyingma school, the talk of the Ati Yoga is a very profound Dharma. So briefly speaking, so using the outer light, like the clear blue sky, you think of the clear blue sky and you transform yourself to become the empty space, and you cut off all your thoughts. And at that time, the radiance of your self-nature would be generated, would be emitted. So that's what you gain by observing the clear blue sky. And second, you can also observe the rising sun or the setting sun, not directly at the sun but below. So that's by observing the sunlight. And then third is observing the lights of the electricity, the light bulbs. That would be fine too. So for the sunlight, you need to visualize it to be a white light and to eliminate your own physical body. And for the moonlight is the yellow light to eliminate your whole body, and the electricity of the light bulb light is the red light to eliminate your whole physical body. So this kind of method is called the white yoga. And then there is also the black yoga, is when you're practicing in total darkness. So you utilize the outer lights to invoke the inner lights, to purify your central channels, to purify your chi, to purify your light drops. And how? It's because your eyes have a channel that is connected to the heart. And the heart is not the heart organ, but it's the heart chakra. It's the lotus blossom that's opening at the heart chakra. And inside it, there are the sun disc and moon disc. And at the center, there is a blue light. If you could see, there is the Vajra Varahi light in the Homa fire. And her light is blue. So a red flame and a blue pilot fire. So if you see the pilot fire, a blue pilot fire, that means you have seen the Buddha nature. So when the heart chakra opens, there is a blue light as big as a finger that is blue. That is a pilot fire. And that is the Buddha nature, the original Buddha nature. So you utilize the outer lights to open the heart chakra, and at the center there is a blue light that is the Buddha nature. And it would continually increase to eradicate your body, the physical body, and to eventually, ultimately, you would reach the rainbow light body. So that's simply said in this practice for dog, or the leaping through. So there's a young man that spoke to his girlfriend. Look at this necklace, and there are 22 diamonds on it. I would like to give it to you. And the girlfriend asked, why did you choose the one with 22 diamonds? And the boyfriend said, because you are 22 years old. And the woman thought, oh, I should have told him my real age. Then I would have more diamonds. So among the true Buddha disciples, there are people who see light drop light. Many could see the lights of the light drops. They are like the diamonds. You can, if you close your eyes and you can see the lights of your own light drops, then this is already very incredible. So with one drop of light, and you fortify it to become brighter, and then you increase the number. Oh, that's this spiritual response. So the Dakinis are not satisfied. Did anyone touch this? No. So the Dakinis were responding, offering to all the Dakinis and to the 4 guardian Dakinis, the Dakinis in the 8 directions, and all the goddesses of the 22 heavens. And there's another bottle offered by Master Lien Ning, offered to the 4 guardian Buddha mothers and the Dakinis in the 8 directions and the 22 heavenly goddesses. So Dorje Patmo pushed a few of these offerings because the perfumes are normally offered to the Dakinis. So where was I? 22 diamonds. So you need to visualize them to be more of them. And first you see the light and focus and concentrate to become one drop of light. And how? Rotate your eyes. Like at dawn, every morning I would rotate my eyes 14 times and close my eyes and stop for a while, and then you would be able to see lights, a few lights. First you look at the light and then close your eyes, rotate 14 times, and then you would be able to see the lights. And then if you can retain them, and the drops of light continue to increase, continually to increase. And it started with one drop of light, and it would become many, many drops of light. And then it would become a Vajra chain. I have taught this in the Kalachakra ceremony before. And then when all of them, then when it is filled with drops of light, then it would become a Vajra screen. And from that radiance, that the Buddha's head would appear, the Buddha's half body, and then the Buddha's whole body would appear. And then you enter into the Vajra screen and merge with the Buddha. And at this time, you would attain Buddhahood. So, what's the phenomena of attaining Buddhahood? Then all the Buddhas of the 3 times in the 10 directions appear in the space and radiating light upon you, just like the Vajra screen. And you would become the Vajra screen, transparent. And you merge with the Vajra screen, and Vajra screen merge with you, and all the Buddhas and you are merging to become one. Then only this would be called Buddhahood. So all the Buddhas of all realms appear to become lights, and the lights are emitted upon you, and the light from your heart chakra is also emitted, and the Buddha nature in your heart chakra continually to increase to become the Vajra screen. And then you merge or unite with all the Buddhas of the 10 directions in the 3 realms. Then only this would be called Buddhahood. And this is called Sambhogakaya. Because Dharmakaya has no form and no phenomena, but Sambhogakaya has light. And then you have emanations to gain physical bodies to deliver sentient beings on earth. So Buddhas have 3 bodies or 3 kayas. The Dharma body has no form and no appearance, and Sambhogakaya, the light body that has appearance. So the appearance in light, or there has some form. And then Nirmanakaya, or the emanation bodies or physical bodies that appear on the Saha world to deliver sentient beings. And sometimes one Buddha can emanate innumerable Buddhas. like Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, this one and that one and that one, they are all reincarnations of Kuan Yin Bodhisattvas, or that one's emanation of Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva. Like Karmapa is an emanation of Chenrezig, Dalai Lama is also an emanation of Chenrezig, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. So there are many Chenrezig, the four-armed Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. There are many, many of them on earth. A white Dakini can also emanate many, many other white Dakinis in the Saha world. One Doje Pamu, the red Dakini, can also emanate many, many red Dakinis on earth, in the human world, or in the Saha world. So emanations are innumerable. This is a joke about stuttering. So we need to cultivate spiritually the best we can, so our speech is clean and clear, and we need to purify ourselves and our physical body, the inner bodies like our central channels, etc. So the stuttering Amin brought his girlfriend home. So his dad asked, she is like hooker. Actually, that's like her name, like Miss Hook or something. And this is also a play of words of Chinese. You can cure your stuttering by reciting the mantra of Manjushri Bodhisattva, the sword on the tongue. What does she do? She's selling spring. Well, a hook that's selling spring, isn't that a hooker? No, actually spring rolls. And so sometimes we have to purify our own bodies. Like our tongues, we have to purify them too. Like when we age, we would stutter. Like my mom often said, when you're my age, you would know. When we were young, we were very active. We were jumping all over the place, to the bed and to the roof and back to the basement, the cave. Jumping all over the place. And she was walking very slowly. And we asked, why are you so slow? Why don't you run or walk faster? And she said, but my knees hurt. But we don't feel any pain even when we jump all over. And then my mom said, after you age, when you are my age, you would know. So aging often starts from the knees. So when you have pain in your knees, like on the joint. When you have hormonal imbalance, you don't have the moisturizer there inside the joint. Often aging starts from your legs or your joints. So we need to remember to practice yoga, to practice the divine water practice, so that you are always rejuvenated, that you're always youthful, that you can live to be 120 years old. So Dharma Sister Linda told a joke. Oh, we didn't mention the 4 great ladies. They're also our special guests. So she told the joke. When you live to be 100, I don't know, I only remember 2. When you reach 100 years old, then you don't have to buy tickets when you climb the mountain, because in China you have to buy a ticket in order to climb the mountain. But when you reach 100, there's no need, because you will not be able to climb anymore. And then when you reach 120, they say that you don't have to be monogamous. You don't have to be monogamous anymore, because you wouldn't be able to do that anymore anyway. But for a yogi, and they continually to practice the divine water, they continue to retain the hormone. Even someone said that when someone reaches 70 years old, there's no need for you to get any to be interested in any pornography. Most people cannot do anything when they reach 70s. And because Liao, this Taiwanese author, was important, so he thought everybody is too at that age. But actually, if you're a yogi and you do practice of the divine water, then you would be able to maintain all of your hormones, like just the sleep hormone. When people reach 40s, they start to lack their sleep hormones, and they start to have difficulty falling asleep. So if you still be able to sleep well past that age, then that would be good. That's already very good. Because when you sleep, your body would naturally be able to emit the sleep hormone in the dark, then naturally you would be able to get into sleep. But when you reach the 40s, this hormone is only half of the time when you're young. So we have a doctor specializing in insomnia, in sleep disorder. I'm not a doctor, you're the doctor. I don't know whether what I said was right, but if I made a mistake, don't tell anyone, because I heard it from you or from the other people. So sleep is also related to hormone. Aging is all related to hormone. If you can maintain your hormone and maintain the amount of the hormone you have in the body, then you will not age. When we were very young, we would be able to see the spirit world. There is there is a part of the brain, I don't know if it's pituitary gland, there's a certain part of your brain that would be able to emit light. Like Ping now she's 3 years old, she could see the light on your body, like the aura or the light of your body. You can ask her, but she would, it depends on your luck. Most of the time she would not say, but sometimes she does. When Grandmaster walks, Grandmaster would emit a very strong blue light, and then Ping told her mom, don't get too close to Grandmaster because there's a very strong blue light, and if you get that bright light, you would be injured. That's what Ping told her mom. And one time when I was giving Dharma teaching, and I was talking about the rainbow light, and Ping walked toward me, and then she said that she saw a lot of multicolored light emitted from Grandmaster's body. And she saw a lady who had lots of obstruction, and she said this lady had lots of worms on her body. And true enough, she said that she told me that she had lots of worms on her body and all kinds of insects. In Chinese, the lazy bug. It's like bugs. And she kept catching them, and there's many, many of them. It's endless. So Ping saw that. She was asked. Actually, there were snakes, and she said there were bugs or worms. So that was like a pine fruit body inside the brain that when you were very young that emit light, but then it was polluted. So when you see lights with your eyes, the light would reach your heart, and then the light is inside your heart, and then finally would emit light, and then there is outer light and inner light, and then you dissolve your body. And your thoughts, you place your thoughts on the sky. So your mind is filled with the clear blue sky, and your speech is silent. So you have to close your mouth when you see the light. And your body is pure. There are several mudras or gestures. The lion position, the sage position, like Milarepa. The first is sage position, like Milarepa. It's like the sixth posture of Milarepa, but your leg is not crossed, but in parallel. And pull it as close as your tummy and your chest. The knees is on your chest, and then you hug your legs. And then the lion position, and the sole of your feet touching each other, and you form a triangular with your legs, and you place both hands inside that triangle. And then the elephant position, kneeling down. You kneel down, and you place your elbows on the ground, and both hands holding your head. The elbows on the ground, and you're kneeling. This is the elephant position. So 3 positions: elephant, lion, and sage or saint positions. So these are the body posture or the body mudra. This is how you should be when you do the practice of seeing the light, visualizing or looking at the lights. Someone went to a fortune teller and scolded, "You're a liar. You told me that I had an accident last night. How come nothing happened?" And the fortune teller said, How come? I'm always accurate. So what did you do last night? And the client said, I had dinner with the big-busted lady. And the fortune teller said, of course, that was right. This is also a play of words in Chinese. One way is saying that encountering the calamities transform into auspiciousness, but the meeting calamity also meant big-chested in Chinese. This joke is Chinese language related, so cannot be translated into the Western languages. So why do you have to put your knees on your chest? Is to put pressure on your tummy. So when you pull your legs toward you, is that to put pressure on the body. It's related to this Dorje Padmo. When you press on that abdomen, the navel area is to ignite the inner fire. And once the inner fire is ignited, then you would have light in your body. So the inner fire actually is temperature. But when the fire is flowing inside the central channel, it's actually a cool fire. And then on top of it, you add the blue pilot fire and a red flame inside the central channel together with the blue cool pilot fire. Together, you would be able to generate light, illuminate light from your body. So Master Lien He from Brazil, I taught him the methods to practice inner fire or tumo. One method is to give pressure. So to press your knees on your chest, that's giving pressure on the abdomen area. Or you rub around the navel 14 times clockwise, 14 times counterclockwise, back and forth, back and forth. And by rubbing, you would be able to increase the heat and increase the temperature. So you use pressure, rubbing, and pushing. That would be, then you would be able to ignite the inner fire. When you were young, sometimes in the dreams you would have seminal emission, like when you were in the military, when you were very young. In the dream, you had some sexual dreams, and then you started making maps. And then you started washing your sheets and your pants in the middle of the night. That's bad. But if you learn these methods, that's because your upper or your lower body is cold. But if you know how to rub around your navel 14 times clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, and so on, then the area would become strong and you will not leak. So this is one method. So if you have seminal emission at night in the dreams, that's not good because you keep losing or leaking your light drops or your semen. But not only that, all your hormones or all the bodily fluid are called hormone or light drops. That's why we want to practice the non-leaking Dharma so that we can always retain our light drops and so that we are always youthful and strong. here. To practice the Dorje Patmo. This is another play of words of Chinese. So you use pushing, pressuring, and rubbing. You need to rub and push and pressure, or you need to tie yourself with the band. Or at night, when you sleep, you use that like a band, like the Kung Fu band, and tie yourself so that your legs and your knee and your chest are touching or pressing against each other. Then the inner fire could be ignited easily. And when you practice the qi, the treasure qi energy yoga, this posture would let the qi to enter the central channel easily. So first you visualize the flame to, and then you use the So the giraffe is married to the monkey, and a year later the giraffe wants to get a divorce. And he said, I don't want to live a life that's jumping all over. And the monkey got angry. Fine, let's get divorced. Who wants to climb a tree just to get a kiss? That's so problematic. So troublesome. Actually, the talk is to use the outer light to invoke the inner light, and the sensation would increase. At first, in the beginning, your mind is like into your body, and you increase the sensation, and eventually the light would fill all the realms, and from a small drop into a big drop, and from darkness into light, and from non-existence into existence, and they all exist in the Dharma realm, the self-nature. So in Chichi, that's cutting through. Only by having cutting through, you would be able to completely purify your body, speech, and mind. Only then your mind would be completely empty, no more thoughts. And the speech is silence, and the body is pure. Because you can cut through all the afflictions, all the thoughts in Chichi. And then at this time, the radiance of the self-nature would naturally be generated. And then your brow point would emit light. So according to the biology, this pine fruit gland in the brain exists both in human beings and animals. So the things that could be seen by animals, sometimes people cannot see. So can see light. Their eyes would become blue or red. They could see lights or the spirits because they still have this gland. And this could emit light. So we sing this firefly song for Ping Er. That's a song about the fireflies. So the fireflies can emit light. Why a human being cannot emit light? Actually, they can. So this gland can see light when you were young. But as you grow up, you're polluted, you're contaminated, the heart chakra started to be blocked, and all the channels become knotted and blocked, and you start to suffer from pains. And you would have the heart attack and die, or you would have strokes because the arteries are blocked. But when they're open and flowing, and all the channels are open and flowing, then your light body would be generated naturally. And the light of your self-nature, the original, intrinsic self-nature, which is the Buddha nature. So that's the teaching of talk. So in Tibetan Tantrayana, it's also called the training of qi and channels. And it can also be proved scientifically. All the blood vessels, the skin pores, they all can reach all parts of the body. And when there are no blockage whatsoever, you would be very healthy. But if you have blockages, or when you lack hormone in a certain part of your body, then that part would suffer from ailments or sickness. So when the light drops in your brain is decreasing, then you would start to have memory loss. So the hormones in our bodies, they are also called light drops, is the same as if they are the vitamins of our life. So if something is lacking, then that part would be sick. Say if you don't have enough insulin, then you would suffer from diabetes. Insulin is also a kind of hormone. That's light drops. So it's very simple actually. So any body part that don't have enough hormone or that has blockage, then that part would be sick or would have problems. So actually this could be explained scientifically also. So we have to be very diligent in our practice. A husband asked the wife, "Who are you talking to for 3 hours at the door?" "Oh, it's the neighbor, Mrs. Zhang. Why don't you invite her to sit down inside? Why are you standing there?" And the wife said, but she said she didn't have time. And after 3 hours, and she said she didn't have time. Wow. That's another joke. That we have to be very diligent. We have to treasure our time. Every single day you have to do your practice. You have to train every day to do your Dharma practice. In order to have attainments, you have to have higher attainments in your spiritual cultivation. So, being diligent We want to increase our sensations. If you only see one drop of light, you want 2, 3, more, many. You have to rely on your own diligence and efforts. If you just hala hala and chatting, having fun, gossiping, nonsense, talking and just talking nonsense, and they're wasting time. Don't talk too much. It's better to do your practice. If you have little time, make best use of it. Make best use of your life to be diligent in your spiritual cultivation. That's more important. We have more jokes. It's a Chinese idiom. It's also a play of words in Chinese. Like if we are only well versed in the knowledge of the sutras, that's no use. That's only for teaching. I'm not talking about the professors. The professors would know the theories, but they may not know the real application. So if you only know to read the sutras, the Tripitaka, the discourses, but if you don't put it into practice, like the yogini, the yogi and yogini are the real practitioners. Like Mirodapa, he doesn't read very much. He just knew how to practice the non-leaking and the inner fire and had attainment. And naturally, his body became Buddha nature. So yogini focuses on real practices more than the theories. But these days, lots more Buddhists that focus on knowledge than the real practice. But it's better if you know both. This is also the joke on Chinese language. So instead, we should treat one day as if it is 1 year, and everything is very diligent, and you do whatever you're supposed to do. Put in good effort in everything. And this is the joke explanation of a certain idiom, Chinese idiom. So when we do the practice of the Vajrayana or Vajra vehicle, that's already very fast. Is there anything even fastest? Is by practicing the Nyingtik or the Ati Yoga. That's the fastest to have attainment. Or at least Mahayoga, Anuyoga, and Ati Yoga is the most important. And the most important is the Nyingtik, the heart essence. So you take care of the affairs of that day. Every single day you take care all the problems of that day. Don't procrastinate. And also be happy. Don't be melancholic or depressed. So if you feel depressed, that's because you have mental problems, mental sickness. Always crying, always sad. And you don't like this, you don't like that. And every day, you're always like this. Depression. Or they They don't want to see anyone because everyone is trying to hurt me. But some people are also helping you. Some people are harming you. Some people wanted to give you happiness. So as a human being, we want to keep happy at all time. It's a joke explanation of this idiom. When you see something beautiful, we have to have self-control. There's so many beautiful flowers, you cannot pick them all, because the flower at home you just need to have a very normal mindset. So as a mundane person, that you feel upset if someone say unnice words to you, but as a spiritual cultivators or a Zen practitioner, you're uninfluenced by any words or any attitudes of other people. Doesn't matter what other people say, you don't care. You don't see, you don't hear, you don't say. I don't see, I don't hear, I don't say. So you're not affected or you're not influenced by anything. And then your mind is unaffected and your mind is still focused. That would be good. Earlier, that gland in the brain is called the pineal gland. Pineal gland. Okay, so the Great Perfection Dharma has 9 stages. You have to go step by step, one stage after another. You cannot go haphazardly. So of these 9 stages, the first stage is the Sravakahood, the arhatship. And if you cannot reach that, then you want to jump to Bodhisattvahood. Bodhisattva is in the human world generating bodhicitta, and you focus on others and less on yourself. There's no compromise. If you don't have a strong mind of renunciation, if you have a strong mind for renunciation, then you practice the Sravaka. If you have a strong mind of bodhicitta, then you practice bodhisattva. Then at least you don't want to fall into the 3 lower realms. This joke. So don't spend your time or effort to learn something useless. But in order to salvage sentient beings in the Saha world, maybe you have to learn some skillful means or convenient methods like fortune telling, feng shui, geomancy. But there are many useless things that you don't need to learn. Like a master learning how to cook, to become a cook every day. There's no need. It's better to practice Buddha Dharma. That's for the mama-san, for moms, or your wives, or your mates. That's not for spiritual cultivators. But if you are able, or you have time, and you cook something for your wife so that you have good relationship, that's fine. So, in this idiom, when you're married to each other, then you are compromising and amiable, and hopefully you follow each other, like one cultivating and the other one is also cultivating together. Not like a husband is cultivating and the wife is pouring cold water over him, or the wife is doing her Dharma practice and the husband is playing loud music. That's not good. You know, as I said, there are no reasonings in this world. Everyone has their own reasons for everything, so there's no need to talk reasons. So you can also say, if your body is strong, you can walk a long way. So don't talk too much. Don't talk too much nonsense things. Spiritual cultivators should not talk too much, because you need to retain your qi, because once you talk, you would lose your qi or energy. Sunlight, moonlight, electricity light, and all kinds of lights, like incense light, and reflected upon yourself. That's the talks, seeing the light. So once you enter the gates of True Buddha School, then you have to stay here and cultivate spiritually the best you can. You need to learn the sutras, and at the same time, you have to put them into real practice to become a yogi, yogini, and to gain spiritual response with your yidam. And if you're not like this, then Grandmaster would be pained to see you like that. You come in here and leave empty-handed. That's too bad. And some never even entered into the gates. That's even bad. So we feel very pitiful toward them if they do that.